Hi BookTube, Sarah here, and welcome to my channel. Today I'm coming to you with something a bit different. I mentioned this in my last weekly reading vlog about taking the knitting out and adding like a new quick little video in on Friday nights. So welcome to the first episode of Friday Knit Night. I thought I would do this because the vlogs tend to get long and I do get rambly about the knitting at the end of the vlogs, and I know it can add 15 or 20 minutes and most people don't care, they like watching it, but I know that there are some people who, you know, that's not what they're here for, and of course not. This is a BookTube channel. It is mostly about the books, and because I like to chat and ramble, I thought this would be kind of fun. I don't do a Friday reads because I do the vlogs and I just feel that that's a little bit of overkill. But to do just a separate knitting video on Fridays, I thought would be a lot of fun. So that's why we're here. This isn't necessarily a knitting podcast for those of you who might have come across this video, you know, searching for something on YouTube. It isn't in the traditional sense. I used to do a knitting podcast for those of you who don't know. I did it for years before I started on BookTube, and I enjoyed it, but I just found the culture of a lot of the knitting community on BookTube, things changed quite a bit from when I started. Much like a lot of us feel with BookTube itself, that I felt anyway, that I kind of couldn't keep up with the bigger knitting podcasts. I wasn't buying as much stuff. I wasn't, you know, a lot of those people have a lot of acquisitions and things like that to show. None of that's going to be done here. This is literally going to kind of just be an overview of what I've knit this week and what kind of progress I've made, because I've got a whole bunch of different knitting projects that I'm working on, and I like having multiple projects. You know, depending on how I feel one day, depends on what I feel like knitting on one day. So yeah, so I guess, I don't know, would you consider it to be a knitting podcast? I don't think so, because that's not what this channel's about. This channel is a book channel, you know, full stop. It's just that I'm adding these fun little videos in on Fridays just to show you guys my knitting, because it is another one of my hobbies and I do enjoy it. And then this way the vlogs hopefully will be just a tad bit shorter than they are right now. So all that being said, let's jump into it. It is the 10th of April today. Happy Good Friday to everyone who celebrates, and happy Passover to all of my Jewish friends. I know this is difficult this year for a lot of families. You know, usually this is a really big gathering for everybody, but that's not happening this year, of course, with social distancing. So whatever it is that you're doing to celebrate your holiday this weekend, I hope you're doing it safely, and, you know, video chat with family, and there's always next year, and there's always the next holiday. So hopefully, you know, we social distance now so we can enjoy the next holiday together, like with our families and things like that. So let's jump into the knitting, as I already said. So I am now, the one thing, if you followed my vlogs, is that I have been doing these little envelopes of little minis that I add into my blanket every week. So every time I finish a book, I get another envelope that has a book title on it that was on my TBR, and I open it, and those are the next squares to go on my blanket. So I actually have 3 this week. So this is kind of a sneak peek to the books that I actually finished that will be coming up in the vlog on Sunday. But it's not that big a deal. I mean, I'm not going to review the book. I'm just going to open the envelopes. I just thought I'd separate them so that way, you know, all the knitting stuff stays together, kind of. So I'll start off with my socks, though. I've got like all this stuff piled in my lap right now. In my adorable cat bag, which I do not remember where I got this from, but it's super duper cute. I have a ridiculous amount of knitting bags and plethora. We are packing to move right now, and I'm looking over at my knitting corner, and it's giving me a little bit of anxiety having to pack all that up. But yeah, this adorable cat bag. So these are my Atlantic Current socks. That's the pattern. Now, I've already written out show notes. I'm falling back into the knitting podcast, you guys. I've already written out all the information that I'm going to share with you, like the pattern name and the designer and a link. So that will all be posted in the description box below if you're interested in going to check out more. So the Atlantic Current pattern was designed by Meliabella, I believe. And it is a paid for pattern on Ravelry. So that is the sock pattern. I love it with this yarn. The yarn is from Sunrise Fiber Company. She no longer dyes yarn. This was like her 2015 club colorway for March, and it's called Rainbow Warrior is the colorway. But isn't that gorgeous? All those different colors. So I'm showing this to you guys. I'm assuming you may have watched the last vlog, but that's where I was last Saturday, and I have finished this sock. I just finished it this morning, did the bind off. I still, of course, need to weave in ends, but I will do that never. I have 2 pairs of socks. The last 2 pairs of socks that I finished are sitting over on my knitting table, and neither one has the ends woven in. Maybe I will do that after I'm done. Well, this is uploading and editing and all that fun stuff. So yeah, I do use, like I said, this is the Atlantic Current pattern, but I only take this part of the pattern, this slip stitch pattern. I do my own toe, my own heel. It's the Fish Lips Kiss heel. It's the heel that I always do because it's the easiest and it fits my foot the best. So yeah, and I messed up. So on Monday, I was part of a live show with a big group of romance booktubers, the romance takeover group that we're calling it. And I was part of a live show. So I was knitting on the live show because I thought, why not? Well, I wasn't paying attention, of course. And I started, originally my plan was to do the slip stitch pattern on the back of the leg. Of course, I didn't do it on the bottom of the foot, but I was going to do it so it goes all the way around the leg. So while I was on that live show, I guess that I forgot I was doing the slip stitch pattern and just started just knitting plain. So I thought, you know what, I'm just going to leave it. And I didn't even bother tearing back or anything like that. I just thought it's a design feature. So yeah, so it is what it is. It's just going to be just up just a little bit higher than the back of my ankle. So yeah, whatever. I don't care. I have not cast on the second sock yet. I will do that tomorrow morning. And yeah, and I'm knitting these on a US 1, which I do not know the millimeters. And I can't read it for the life of me. It is a US 1, but these are my Knit Pro, is it Knit Pro? Zings, which I found, I think, in Vermont 2 years ago when I was there when I was picking up Mandy. And we went to her local yarn shop, and before we were driving down to Rhinebeck. So 2 years ago, a year and a half ago, I guess. It was 2 years ago in October. And I found these, and I really, really love them. They are great needles. I am a fan of metal needles. I do not care for wooden needles because I find the yarn sticks too much to them. But for beginners, wooden needles are the best, actually. And I knit this, of course, on a circular needle, a full circular, and I do magic loop on it. So yeah. So there's the socks. So we have a half object finished this week, which is always nice. Put that down there. The next thing I will show you guys, I'm going to save the sock yarn blanket for last, is the Dotty cardigan. So this was designed by Stephanie Jessica Lau, and again, will be linked in the description box below. Now, this pattern is very cool because it is actually a free pattern on Ravelry. If you go to Ravelry and click on the pattern, it says it's for free. You go to her blog and you can print off the full pattern. But she also gives you an option to pay for a PDF version of it with no ads. Like, her blog has ads on it. So in order to support the designer and to get it without ads, you pay a small fee, which I totally think is awesome and absolutely worth it, in my opinion, to support the designer, you know, because it's a really cool pattern. So this is an extremely, extremely oversized sweater, like a ridiculously big sweater. And it's knit. This morning I was knitting on I finished off my socks, and then I went right to this one. So I believe these are knit. I'll have to double check. Just hold on one sec. I'll show you what it's going to look like. So do you see how hugely oversized it is? It's a gorgeous pattern. I love the photography in this too. Like, totally worth the money to buy this pattern. And it's living in one of my big sweater bags here. But yeah, so let me see here. This is knit in pieces. I'm used to knitting my sweaters seamless, where you just start and do a top down raglan or a bottom up with whatever, with the shape, with whatever you do to it. But I've knit one other sweater that I had to seam together, and that was my Pumpkin Ale by Solatique, which is still hands down my favorite sweater. And this crazy, crazy part of my brain wants to knit it again. I've knit it twice already. The first time I knit it, and it wasn't exactly quite the right size, and then I washed it, and I, as an idiot, it was made out of 100% wool. I hung it to dry. So it stretched the bejesus out of it. You know what I mean? So it's unwearable, but I've kept it because it's kind of like the very first big sweater I ever knit. And then I re-knit it in acrylic, but it's not exactly fits me as well as I'd like it to. And I'd like to try one more time, like third time's a charm kind of an idea. The first 2 times I did knit it, it was in orange because it's the pumpkin ale. But I think if I did it again, I might do it in like a dark brown. I think that might be nice. I might get a bit more wear out of it that way. But anyway, sorry, that's a totally different thing that I'm talking about. See, this is why I'm doing something separately, because I could just go on and on. So, the last time I showed this, which was a number of weeks ago. So like I said, it's knit in parts. So I've already knit the entire back panel. I'll just show you guys that because this is kind of new for some of you. So this is just the back panel, guys. Like I'm telling you, this thing is ridiculously oversized. So there's the back panel of it, and I'm not that big. I'm actually knitting the small medium size. I think there's an extra small size, but I'm knitting the small medium because, you know. But yeah, that's the back. So this is meant to be like a huge kind of a house coat feel to it. The kind of sweater that in the fall you throw on to run out to the grocery store, or, you know, when you don't really necessarily need a coat, but you want something. So that's what that's my envision for this sweater. So, and then now I've knit one of the front panels. So you've got the back panel, then you'll have 2 front panels, and then each sleeve, and then it all kind of gets seamed together. So that's one of the front panels. It kind of rolls in on itself, so it is wider than what you're seeing. But there's where I was the last time I showed you guys, which was weeks and weeks ago. So I've gotten all that done. And then I have cast on the second front panel. And here it is. So this is what I've done this week, is I just cast this on earlier this week. So this is what I've done. So as you can see, there's a gorgeous patterning to it, the dots. You're essentially just knitting and purling. This is really, really easy. I could absolutely see this being a beginner knitter's, like a beginner sweater pattern for somebody. Other than the seaming, which I haven't gotten to yet, but I'll keep you guys updated on how that goes. But it's knit in bulky yarn. And as I was saying, my socks are on a US 1. These are a US 10. So I'm going from, like, you know, these are huge. And it's really weird on your hands when you go from one to the other, like in the same day, because you're like, it doesn't feel right. But yeah, this knits up super quick because it is in bulky yarn. And I believe this is Knit Picks yarn. Do I have a tag? No, I don't have a tag in the bag. It's Knit Picks bulky. I don't know if it's the Brava. I can't tell. I think this might be 100% wool. But it's Knit Picks. I'll remember for next time to tell you guys the yarn. Because it's really, really great yarn to work with. So yeah, so there, whoops, hair. So let me put the pattern back in here, so that way when I go to knit on it later, I'm like, where'd the pattern go? And then the last thing I've given, well, other than my blanket, the last thing that's gotten some love this week in my most amazing and favorite bag ever is my Golden Girls bag that I got off of Etsy. I saw somebody posted it. I think I saw it back when I was following a lot of knitters on Instagram, and I saw this posted, and I freaked out because I love the Golden Girls. Sophia, can you see her? She's right there over my beside John Oliver and the Peeps Bunny. I have very strange tastes, you guys. But yeah, so my Golden Girls bag. And this is, oop, my tablet went off. This is the Free Your Fade. This is the Free Your Fade shawl. This is my second one. I knit one in shades of purple. This is now in shades of blue and silver. And this is the Free Your Fade by Andrea Mowry. This is another paid for pattern on Ravelry. You knit this in sock yarn, and it's in 3 colors. Am I in the middle of a row? Oh gosh darn it, I am. Okay, that's okay. I can still show you guys. So this was the first color, this gorgeous silver, and if you guys can see, it's got sparkle in it. And then it went into this color, which is a silver and like a gray and blue. So there's the second color that I've started. So you fade one color into another, hence the name. And the last time I showed you guys this, I was down where Sophia is right there. Yes, I have a matching stitch marker. I have the stitch markers, the entire set for all 4 women. And so I've gotten that much done, which doesn't seem like a lot, but it's kind of hard to show you guys. But it's in it's wide now. Like it constantly grows. Every other row, you're adding an extra stitch, which doesn't seem like a lot, but it adds up, you guys. So yeah, I love this. And then the third color, because there's 3 colors in this, this is going to be the third color. Isn't that awesome? Oh, I love it. It's going to be so, so pretty. This is the purple version of this that I have. It's just right over there. It is my most worn shawl. I wear it all the time. Even if it doesn't necessarily match what I'm wearing, like in the wintertime, it made a great scarf because it's not super thick. So yeah, I really, really liked it. Sorry, the sun is kind of coming in and out from the clouds, so you might see the lighting change ever so slightly. I'm filming this like with the window wide open. Well, the curtains open. So here's the pattern. Let me see if I can get... Okay, so here's kind of a diagram of how it's going to look. So you start at the smallest point here with your stitches, and then it constantly grows, and then eventually you do like your bind off up here. So I'm somewhere like around here right now. But it's really, really... If I could reach my purple one, I would reach over and show it to you. But there is like... That's kind of how it looks. But it's one of those things that you can do anything with. Like, it calls for like 3 different sock yarns, I think. Relaxing garter stitch. It'd be gorgeous knit up in 1 color, but can just as easily use 20. So the pattern gives you the directions on how to do it with 3 colors. But like she said, you can do anything. You could do this just in 1 color and it would still be stunning. The actual shape of the shawl is just absolutely beautiful. So yeah, really, really love that. And of course, the last thing I want to show you guys is my sock yarn blanket, which I have added a lot of squares to this week and this year. I'm so pleased that I decided to take on, sorry, just reaching for it, that I decided to take on and do this like little extra project, because I was neglecting this blanket so, so much, and I really would like to eventually finish it sometime in the next few years. So as I already explained, every time I finish reading a book this year, I have yarn. If I add books to my TBR during the month that were not originally on my TBR, I actually add a new envelope to my bag of envelopes. And so for every book that I'm reading this year, I am opening another mini square to add to my, another mini to add to my blanket. So here is the blanket, the beast. It's running... I'm very quickly running out of room in this bag. I'm going to need a bigger bag. I'm actually, because Garrett and I are packing, as I was saying, I found a carry-on bag that I used for like travel. I might end up starting to put it in there, because the size of this is going to be big enough, I think, to fit a king-size bed. I think that's what my plan was. It's eventually going to be 1,600 squares in total. So I will show you guys what I added in last week. And I think, yes, I added in 6 squares last week. So here's the blanket. I'm on these rows now. Isn't that pretty? Isn't it just the prettiest thing ever? It makes me so happy every time I see it. It just makes me super duper happy. And I love looking through some of the yarns and going, yep, I remember knitting that. Like, not all these yarns came from me. I haven't knit something with all of these yarns. A lot of these came from friends and from people sending them to me. You know, but occasionally I'll be looking at it and be like, yeah, you know, I knit that yarn, or I made something out of that yarn. I'm just trying to see from this side if I can see anything. I designed that yarn right there for Desert Vista Dye Works a number of years ago. She had a thing going on Ravelry where she had like a yarn club where you had to, she was asking people for recommendations for book covers, and then she was dyeing yarn to match the book cover. And I mentioned the book Bad Romeo by Lisa Raven, I want to say was the author's name. And it was picked as one of the books. It was for Valentine's Day. It was for February. She was doing romances. And that was the yarn that came from it. And I got a free skein sent to me. So I still have about 3 or 4 more of these that I can put in the blanket. So there will be a lot of these squares will be duplicated at some point, but that is absolutely okay by me. Just trying to see here again. There's my Alice in Wonderland colorway right there. That's Alice in Wonderland. Yeah, now that I'm looking for them, I can't see them. Isn't that always the way it goes, you guys? Isn't that, this one here has to be one of my favorites. It's a watermelon. Isn't that fantastic? Oh, it just makes me so happy. It's gorgeous. Love it, love it, love it. So yeah, and this is another one of my favorites. This heavily rainbowed one right here. So, so pretty. So anyway, back to the ones that I added in this week. So I added these. That was the last square I put in the week before. So I've added in these two, and these two. So I believe this is a No Makers. This is a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle. This is one I don't know. This is another No Makers, and I think Mandy told me, she sent me a message, she was watching my last vlog, and I think it was Buddy the Elf was this colorway. This is another No Makers, I think it was a Valentine's Day one, and then this one is called 60s Kitchen. I do not remember who the dyer was for this one, but I have a pair of socks in this color, and this one is also in the blanket elsewhere. I just saw it when I was looking for something else. Yep, there it is. See, I've already got it in the blanket, so I've got two of them, but that's okay. Again, I'm going to have multiples, and I'm perfectly okay with that. So, last thing, oh yeah, and this sock yarn blanket, the recipe, because I just kind of use a standard recipe, there is a pattern for it. These are just mitered squares. That it's by Shelly Kang, is where I got my original recipe for it. So, but if you just do a search online for mitered square blankets, you'll find something for this. So let me just quickly open up the yarns, and then I will let you guys go. So the first book that I finished this week, as I said, spoiler alert from my vlog coming up on Sunday, is The Girl with the Make-Believe Husband by Julia Quinn. I'm not giving you guys any ratings or what I thought about the book. You're going to need to tune in to the vlog for that one. Hopefully it'll be a much shorter vlog this week. I've been trying to do my best to keep it at a reasonable length. So yeah, Girl with the Make-Believe Husband by Julia Quinn. We'll open this up. Already wound into a ball. I gotta like that. That is pretty. This, I have a pair of socks in this colorway. I do not remember what it is. Is this Twisting Planet? It might be because it's super, super soft. But yeah, isn't that pretty? I should hopefully get a full square of this one. It looks kind of tiny, but we shall see. The next book that I finished was Flamingo Diner by Cheryl Woods. This one was a reread. I enjoyed it. I did enjoy it. Another one that's already rolled up into a ball. Yay. No idea what this is. I think this came from a friend. I believe there's already one of these in the blanket already, and I had enough to add another one. Very nice summery colors, right? With the pinks and the yellows. Very, very pretty. And then last but not least, the other book that I finished this week was 100 Reasons by Kelly Collins. Kindle Unlimited. Worth getting it for Kindle Unlimited. And here we have... Oh, all three of them are already wound into balls. That's awesome. That's going to make my life so easy when I go to add these in. This is another one that I already have. This became a pair of socks. This was a Halloween colorway that I cannot remember the name of, but it's pretty. It's got purples and blacks in it. Now, I will actually have 2 more books read by Saturday night. But I'm not opening those right now because I haven't finished them yet. And that's my rule, is that I'm not allowed to open these until I finish the book. So what'll happen is next week, because I'm actually doing this a day early, like normally I would do these on Saturday, because I'm doing it a day early, I'm losing out on Saturday's books essentially to show you guys. So I'll show them to you next week. And then going forward, when I do these on Fridays, you'll have like Saturday to Friday, all the books that I've read. So whatever. It'll all make sense. It'll all come out in the wash, as Miranda Lambert would say. But yeah, so I'm looking forward to adding these ones in. Let me make sure I get them in the right order. So there they are. My next 3 to go on the blanket. So yeah, so only 3 going in this week. Next week I should have double that at least. I plan on getting a lot of books read. I've got to up my ante for the reading because we are almost at the middle of the month already, and I still have a ton of books on my TBR, including this gorgeous book right behind me here, The Henna Artist. I cannot wait to read that. I'm so excited. I hope I'm going to read that one this week, actually. So that's all I have for you guys. I do hope that you enjoyed it. Let me know in the comments below, did you enjoy this? Do you want me to continue doing this? I thought it was a lot of fun, and just kind of a very loosey-goosey, sitting down, chatting with you guys, showing you my knitting. And yeah, I will talk to you guys in my next video. Take care, happy reading, and happy crafting. Bye, guys.